Radio Rahim here with Shane Mosley. When I say here, I mean in London town. We're on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
We've spent so much time in America, ringside, after and before fights. I've covered your career for so long that it's fun to be over here with you.
Yeah.
How are you finding England, really?
Man, I'm having a great time out here in England, hanging out with a lot of great people, friends, and Lei Chan.
Boxing is one of these sports that it goes all over the world, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think kind of like no other American sport in the sense that every place has their version, their culture of boxing in it. So getting to come over here, like kind of post-career and get the love, like what's that feel like knowing what you've done in the sport?
Man, I mean, it's a great feeling, Hall of Famer and all that stuff, and knowing that people all over the world still recognize me and still see me like I can go anywhere. And they'll, especially here in London, and they're like, oh man, Sugar Shane. And, London is pretty much kind of like the United States as well, or England is like the United States, where they have a lot of different type of foreigners there. But on this side of the world, it's interesting that they like see me and embrace me like this. It's really good.
Coming from inner city American towns and having dreams as a kid, you want to be the man in your community. Yeah. You want to be the guy on your block even.
Yeah.
Starting out, and you've been boxing since you were a kid. What was the dream? What did you imagine that sport would take you?
So when I was 8 years old is when I started boxing. Mm. When I was 10, I even told my parents, I'm like, listen, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be I'm going to be the world champion. I'm going to be one of the best in boxing. Mm. And I never detoured off of that. And my father was there with me, watching me all the time, making sure that, that I stayed in the gym, make sure that I stayed to the path of being the world champion that I wanted to be. But yeah, it was a great feeling for me to be able to accomplish something that I had wanted to be at such a young age, so being 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And also I could say Sugar Ray Leonard being a factor of that, watching him when I was a kid, because I started in 1979. He was world champion in 1980. And it was like, I think that's kind of how the name came about. That is how the name came about, is because it was Sugar Ray Leonard, 1980, he was the world champion. It was like, you're like Sugar Ray Leonard, you're like Sugar Ray Robinson, we're going to call you Sugar Shane. Huh. And that's how it came about since I was 10 years old.
Now, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Shane,
yes,
comes with a little bit of pressure. Already at 10, like, well, that's putting aspirations. That's putting a certain amount of pressure on a 10-year-old. Did you know then? Did you feel it then? Like,
oh man, I felt it. They was literally announcing me as Sugar Shane Mosley when I was 10. Since I was 10 and in the ring. So it was like, we have this corner, Sugar Shane Mosley. It was like that when I was 10 years old. So it was already with me, and it went with me through my whole career.
How did that affect a fifth grader? Having expectations of eclipsing or at least being in the company of adults, world champions.
I was that kid that really had to win. I was a kid that was very competitive. I didn't really necessarily grow up poor, or I grew up like middle class, but I was just that kid. And everybody knew it too. Like, it was basketball, football, baseball, tetherball, marbles, whatever it was. I had to win. I had to be the best. Mm-hmm. So I would do all the things possible to make sure that I was the best. I mean, when I was 6 years old, I was doing like 100 push-ups, 100 set-ups. I was running a mile like 6 minutes and something. I was just a maniac. So I had to win.
Did that have an effect on your social life as a kid? Most kids are running around. They got a whole group of friends. They get to play after school. No time for playing if you're going to be Sugar.
That is true. I mean, like I said, I was the type that liked to win. So I would sit there and, I have people, I would play different basketball, football, whatever, athletics. But that was just, pastime. But when it was something that I really wanted to win or really wanted to accomplish, I wasn't going away from it. I was going to stay right on it, make sure that I was the best at it. And that I think that's the thing that was separated me from a lot of kids was me wanting to win, wanting to be the best.
You know, when a kid says something like, "I want to be world champion," a lot of adults be like, "Oh, that's nice." You know what I mean? You start to encounter your first set of doubt.
Yeah,
people will introduce doubt into your mind when a kid knows nothing but what they desire. Did you have to face that at all?
I think not really, because I think that being with the family like mine, my father, my mother, my sisters, everybody, they knew, even the kids at the school, they knew, and the teachers, they all knew that I was that one. It's something where when you have people that you're around and they just know your personality, they know who you are, they know, oh yeah, if anybody can do it, he's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it was that type of thing. Like if anybody, I was the California State champion when I was 10 years old in all of California. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even in the boxing gym, you know what I'm saying? That's why they started calling me Little Sugar. They knew. They was like, oh yeah, this kid right here, he's going to be world champion. I literally was main event. You know how they have the amateur shows and the heavyweights go at the end? Mm-hmm. I would go at the end with another fight with another guy that was really good too, Ruben Espinosa. And we would actually do the main event fight as kids. Wow. So it's like they already knew that this was happening.
And so the people in the community know, your family knows. Yeah. That's a little bit of celebrity right there.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I mean, it's been like that my whole boxing career. I was always number one. Even when I won the ABF Nationals, I was 17 years old, representing the country. I go back to school, they have my billboard on, Shane Mosley, national champion, boxing, amateur, whatever. So it wasn't like I was ever like behind the ball. Even beating Oscar, Rafael Reles, Pepe Riley. I mean, I beat everybody around the California State community. So it wasn't like if he's gonna be a world champion, it's like when will he be the one who's gonna get the title, not if.
What kind of effect does that have on a young man, but even pre-teen, when people have those kind of expectations? They already can see the dollar signs, they can see the cameras coming. How is your social interaction, and even with inside the family, when people expect so much from you and for you?
I think that it wasn't so much about them expecting it from me. It was about me expecting it from me. I expected that. I called up like, listen, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be world champion. I expected it. Money, I didn't care about the money. I didn't really get that much money until I won my world title. And then after the world title, I started making money. I mean, I was making like $1,000 here, $1,000 there. I made more as an amateur than I made as a professional until I won the world title. The world title I made like $40,000 fighting Philip Holiday. Maybe 50, I think it was. 50,000, 10,000 for training expenses. Fighting Philip Holiday for the world title. Right. And then I made 112, then 200, then started going up to, then went to $1 million, like after pretty much my 7th, 8th title defense in lightweight. I didn't even get my first $1 million until I was like, I defended my title like 6, 7 times.
I mean, that sounds crazy. And what's funny is a teenager making $1,000, that seems like a fortune to them.
I was actually working. I was working when I turned pro. At the beginning, I was actually working before fights. Big Five, Kmart, Athletic Express, Banner House Peaks. I mean, just doing different jobs before I even fought for the title. I remember at Kmart, I was telling the lady, the manager, I'm like, yeah, I think it was 96. Yeah, I'll be world champion next year. I probably won't be here next year. And she's like, oh yeah, that's great. Nice. That's nice. Go hang up the bikes in the back. Face the oil cans and go to the fishing, the sporting good, the fishing part of the Kmart, and get some license out, stuff like that. So I was like, I wasn't doing like good. It had nothing to do with money. It had something to do with me being the best, me winning, beating whoever it was that was out there. I didn't even care. I think I was 22-0 with 21 knockouts when I fought for my first title. Maybe 21-20. But I had all knockouts until I fought for my first world title fight.
How many amateur fights have you had?
250 plus. I don't even know. Like, it's a whole bunch. I lost about 10.
So, like, again, early on, while you're in this amateur space, before, like, world titles is even an option because you're not a pro.
Right.
What's the amateur circuit like for a kid that everybody knows it's just a matter of when?
It's kind of interesting because, like, let's say Oscar de La Hoya, he was the gold medalist, and they were just giving him money. Shelly Finkel and this one, that one. Like, he would go to the Olympic Trade Center, and they would, he'd have cars, he'd have all the stuff he wanted. Me, even though I was like the top guy, it was like I wasn't the pick guy from the big promoters back then. You know what I'm saying? So they really didn't, so I had to really work my way all the way up. I mean, all the way up till I get to the title. Nothing was given to me.
When you're seeing a guy that you believe you're better than, he's got talent.
I actually beat him, but go ahead. I beat him as amateur, but go ahead.
Right, but even before you beat him, right, you see him getting these kind of, No,
I beat him as an amateur. I beat him when we was 12th, 13th. I already beat him before, and it was the Olympic team before him, and all this. But go ahead.
Okay, but so then when do you start seeing Oscar getting money from these promoters, getting cars, getting that kind of like special treatment that you're not getting? When do you notice that there's a difference between him and you and how he's being treated and how you're being treated?
It's kind of like this. I didn't worry about how much money Oscar was getting, what he was doing. My main goal in the beginning was be great, be the world champion. I'm going to knock the door down. They'll keep trying to stop me, It's not going to work because I'm going to knock everybody out. They're not even going the distance. And that's why before I even lost, it was like I was 38, done with 35 knockouts. I'm like, we're not even going the distance because you're not going to cheat me. We're not going to, I'm going to win regardless. So if I keep winning, the money's going to follow me later on. That was my thinking. Like, if I win, I'm gonna get the money. The money is going to be there. It's always going to be there. If you're the best, if nobody can beat you, then you know what?
That's a good mentality to have.
But I had.
You know it, but you still got to notice, like, hey, this ain't the same.
Oh, I've noticed that from the beginning because Oscar was, back then, he was the pretty boy that, everybody liked, and he fought good. He really did. He was a hell of a fighter. No, no, seriously. He was really, really good. And he trained really hard, and he really worked for everything that he got. So, I mean, he deserved it all. And I believe that he deserved it. That's cool.
Did you know each other before your first amateur fight? Did you guys, have a relationship?
Not really. We did a little bit because I was the number one guy, and everybody wanted to come beat me. Mm-hmm. So it was not his father, it was one of his trainers. They would come by like, oh, can my son fight, or can my fighter fight your fighter? And my father, oh yeah, we're gonna fight, this one. We was the one doing this back when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But now, he kind of passed me up on the Olympic level, and then he was the big guy. But, it's all good.
So talk to me about the first time you faced Oscar, because that's probably a test for you, right? Like, you're the number one guy. He's the guy people are looking at.
They wasn't really looking at. He wasn't as good as he was until he got 14, 15 years old. Oh. When he got 14, 15, that's when he turned into the golden boy. He was really, really good. They started training, I think, for his mother. His mother passed away, and he started putting everything for her, and when to go better for you, all this stuff, Right. But before then, 12, 13, I was really, like I said, I had to win. So I was a different animal than he was, and then he became better when he got older.
Did you see him as your first rival?
He wasn't even actually the first rival. Like I said, it was Ruben Espinosa. He was just another fighter. That was another kid that was just trying to fight or whatever. But he became a rival when we became on the Olympic team. Then he was more of a rival. 15, 16, 17. Because I was 17, he was 16.
When you're that good, you're blowing by everybody, knocking everybody out. Yeah. There always comes that time, especially for a kid, where you're like, well, nobody's better than me. And then you get introduced, or you come up in competition against somebody who may not be better than you, but now they're pressing you. It's harder to beat this person than everybody else. You realize that there's other people that can be as good as you, that you do have some competition. When was the first time you experienced something like that? Like, oh, that guy is going to be harder to beat than everybody.
Well, that's where you get to the Olympic level. So I boxed in the 1988 Olympics or 1988 ABFs. And I had to then face people that were, national champions, world champions. Kelsey Banks was one of the ones that I fought. At 16, he was 25, he was world champions, all this. So it's like, wow, I'm fighting this guy. He's like 6 foot something. I'm like 5'5", little guy. I'm looking at him like 16 years old. And he's literally won the world title championships. I don't know how many times. It was a good little fight. It was my, what was it? You have the bronze round. So it's not semifinals, but the quarterfinals.
Right.
Yeah, so we fought. I lost, but it was a good fight. And everybody was like, oh, man, you did really good, man. He's a world champion. So I realized that, I got to step my game up. I got to step it up. Also, get in the ring with, like, as amateur, get in the ring with world champion fighters or professional fighters, then, they're a little more slicker. They know a little different things, more experience. I'm like, wow, I got to learn this. I learn, how do they know when I'm getting ready to throw a punch? They're slipping before I throw it. Like, why do they throw it more power? Why are they more, elusive or whatever? It's different. So then I started learning their tactics as well. So I got a chance to learn different people by sparring with different people, different world champions. I mean, I was in the ring with Zuma Nelson when I was 15. And Zuma Nelson was world champion at 126. I was 126 amateur. So I was like, oh, man, we're getting there and working. And then after the sparring session, I remember Carl King came, oh, man, we want to sign you. And my father's like, well, he's not even professional yet. He's amateur, 15 years old. He's 15? So it was kind of like that.
How do you handle defeat as a young man with as much confidence as you have, the goals that you're going to attain, when somebody knocks you off that pedestal, you're like, oh, I ain't won this one.
The thing with me was I handled defeat, I think, pretty good because it's like, it's always something I could do better. I believe that. Like, okay, it's not what he did, it's what I didn't do. That was my thinking. It's not what you did. You did some good stuff, but it's what I didn't do to counteract that or whatever. So I got to figure it out. Once I figure it out, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try it again. I remember when I was like 8 years old, everybody wants to do the 1.5 off the diving board, 1.5. I would do 1.5, one in a belly flop almost every day until I got the 1.5. The diving board wasn't moving because I was probably like, 50 pounds, 55, 60 pounds. So diving board basically didn't do anything. But so when I jump off of it and I keep trying, I was the one that would try. I remember my sister would beat me like in, let's say, checkers or cards, something like that. I wouldn't leave the table. They couldn't leave until I won. I had to win. And so my father, my mother, somebody come in, they'll let me win, and then I can go to sleep. But until then, I can go to sleep.
You mentioned your father. He's training you for this from the beginning.
From the beginning, yes.
And so you have this, I gotta win mentality. That's kind of grown men stuff. You're facing grown men.
Yeah.
What's the dynamic like when you have a father who's a trainer, but you're also a young man with adult goals and trying to mature? Like,
my father, like I said, they all knew that I was the one. They was like, oh yeah, if anybody's gonna do it, if he really wants to do it, he's gonna do it. So, my father was always more like, he's my father, but he's also like a big brother to me too as well. So we'll go back and forth, talk about different things. It's kind of like, let's say, okay, for instance, if I was leaving my jacket at school, back in the day, they give you spanking. I got you a SWAT. I said, Papa, you give me a SWAT. I'm not your friend. I'm not talking to you. If you give me a SWAT, I'm not talking. Sorry, Shaq, I give you a SWAT. So you give me a SWAT, I'm gonna run away. So you give me a SWAT, I run away. All right, I go to the park. And then it's like, I'm hungry, so I come back home. He said, well, what happened? I thought you was running away. I was like, yeah, I am running away. I'm still running away. But I did give me something to eat. I got some to eat, and I go run away again.
As you reach teenage years, now you're in the Olympics, like you say. There's competition, there's pressure, there's a lot more eyeballs. Does that dynamic change? Are you, as you start to kind of think about becoming your own man, is there a place for a training father and then like, you know, a guiding, maturing type of influence as a father?
Well, with my father, the way we trained, it was kind of like, it was actually like he would train me to try to like, he tried to break me, try to break my will, it felt like. And we go back and forth like, no, you're not breaking my will. We're doing meds or we're doing this ball thing or drills in the bag. Or, it was always like a competition. And I had this mentality, I'm not going to break. He had the mentality, oh, I can break you. I can break you. No, you can't break me. So we go back and forth. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like I said, it's like me and my father, it's like my big brother. Like you know, trying to make me tough.
That's the dynamic of an opponent in the ring, right? Like you're trying to break each other's will.
Trying to break each other's will. So he tried to break me, but he can't break me. Even today, we'll do this right now. He's 78 years old. I'm 50. He goes, oh yeah, see you're tired. You're tired. Nah, I ain't tired. Let's go. Let's keep going. Right now.
Talk to me about the Olympic experience in that, like you say, at that point, you still believe that you're the top guy, that these gold medals should be coming your way.
It don't happen,
Yeah, so how does that get derailed?
So I think that, you know, I lose some points to Vernon. I'm like, oh man, I lost. And it's weird because I would work with him all the time. And it seemed like I was like I could hit him a lot of times in sparring. That's why I said sparring is not the same as fighting. Fighting is different than sparring. You got different gloves, whatever. But it was like, not easy, but it was kind of, you know, it wasn't hard to spar with Vernon. Like and it was harder for him to try to find me or whatever. In my mind, I thought, yeah, you know, amateur is this way. And yeah, you know, I lost. I just can't never go this. I just got to fight all the way. You know, I can't just try to box. I got to just fight. And I think that's why I fought the way I did. It's just go out there, give 100%, go out there and fight. And if I do 100%, if I go out there and I like give everything, they don't go the distance, I'm going to win the fight. We're going more rounds. I think my first two fights were 6. Next 2 fights were 8, rest 10s. Mm-hmm. I only had 2 6s, 2 8s, and 10s. People go 4, there's that 6, whatever. I went 2 6, 2 8s, 10s.
What's your relationship like with the other Olympic athletes? Like you're all kind of teenagers, you got these dreams, but now you're living together, competing. Yeah. What's that relationship like?
I mean, they were great. I mean, like I'll hang out with like Chris Bird and Tron Millette and Raul Marquez, even Oscar. You know, we'd hang out. Who else? I mean, you had Tim Austin. You know, Eddie Griffin. So they were really good. I mean, we had this brotherly type of thing. It was all from different parts of the United States, the inner city or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we all go out, hang out, have a good time, go work out together, work hard, spar. It was like a brotherly thing, I guess you could say, with us sparring with each other because sometimes it get heated. I remember when like Jeremy Williams and Melvin Foster, they got into it. They was at the Marquette, Michigan. It was like, wait a minute, you guys got a street fight. Let's put the gloves on. And then one was heavyweight, one was light heavyweight. Let's put the gloves on. And, you know, let's do it from there. Let's see what happens. You know, don't use your knuckles and hurt your hands and stuff like that. But, yeah, so they went in there and they duked it out for 3 or 4 rounds, with the gloves on. And then they came out really good friends, Did
you have any scrapes with anybody like that?
I didn't get a chance. No, I didn't do that.
I mean, you were friends with everybody. You didn't have no.
I was friends with everybody, but everybody, sometimes they get your nerves if you living in the same spot. But I wasn't trying to like fight anybody like that. Like what they was doing. Yeah.
Seeing the world at that age, like what's it like? Being a young man, again, you're at a real competitive level. You have other people that are, elite competitors for their age bracket. You guys are, going around tournaments at the Olympics, seeing the world. How does that affect you?
I think it affected all of us in a good way because we had a chance to see the world, not just the world. We've seen pretty much every part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, places I would probably never go. I mean, like Idaho maybe, or Salt Lake City, Utah. I mean, Vermont. I mean, you everywhere. But we went to all like the bases and stuff like that. Then went to Italy a couple of times, and Poland, and so here, so we'll travel everywhere around the world, and I think that it gave all of us, a broader experience of the whole world instead of just living in one spot,
I mean, the 80s in America, even if you're not, struggling, even middle class blacks, it's a real unique experience in time. Obviously this is the height of the crack epidemic. Like that touched every community, regardless of your socioeconomic status. And you're meeting people from all over the different world. Are you insulated from like what's happening in the 80s in the inner cities because of the kind of life you're living as an athlete at that age?
I wouldn't say that was all the way insulated. I think that, like I said, a lot of the guys were coming from these, I wouldn't say projects, but more of a, the ghetto type of homes, and fighting their way, if you will, out of it. So it gave them a chance to be able to travel, because if they didn't box or do this, they probably wouldn't have got a chance to get out of the country, get a passport, do these different things. So the program definitely gave a lot of us fighters, an opportunity to be able to go. I think I could have did it because, like I said, both my mother and my father both worked. But a lot of these guys, their parents didn't work. That this is what that's what they did, how they got out of the house or whatever.
Did they see you as kind of privileged?
No, because although I did grow up middle class, my parents didn't grow up middle class. They grew up in the projects. So they kind of got out of it and then moved out to suburbs, and then I was there. So I did have family members that, so it wasn't like I was that, but I had family members that were still there, still around. So I still would go there,
Right. So that's got to be an interesting dynamic, like, again, to wrestle with. And like you see this one situation, like family members that are in a different economic class, and then you've got your teammates and competitors who are fighting their way out of poverty, where you're at least able to be comfortable. How are you understanding that dynamic? Like, what does the world look like to you at that age in that specific time in history?
I think that with me, the world is looking more like, I think that I want to accomplish my goal. I wanted to accomplish being the greatest, being one of the best. I didn't really, it was almost like blind. Once I figured out this is what I'm going to do. And the reason why I chose boxing, because it was one-on-one, and they were my age and my size. Because I felt everybody was bigger than me. And I would still beat guys bigger than me or whatever. If they're my size and my age, then it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? I won. So my focus was being the best in the sport. I had opportunities to go out. I could have been, gangbanger. I could have done drugs. I could do all the stuff they was doing. I was right around all that stuff. But I was like, no. And my father was there to help me. My parents was there, like, no, stick to your goal. I wasn't doing it anyway because I knew that this is where I wanted to be. This is what I wanted to do. There was no other plan to be nothing else in life. Was to be the greatest boxer I can be. That was it.
At that age, when you don't win the gold, does it give you pause? Does it make you rethink, like, can I really do this? Like, if I don't get the gold medal, am I the best?
I mean, it could make you pause, and it could make you think, like, oh, man, what else am I going to do? And it is scary. But, no, I think that I really believe this strongly. If I can believe I can do it, if I can do it, and believe it, and continue to work hard to do it. I knew that you had to work hard to do it. And I said, they're not working as hard as me. They're not going to work as hard as me. They're not going to be I just knew it. I felt it. It's like, it's a weird type of sensation, but I just felt that I'm going to be that person. I don't know. I couldn't think that it just would. It just didn't compute. It wouldn't compute.
Well, the Olympics happen every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And so you lose to Vernon. Are you thinking, do I have to beat this guy, or do I come back to the Olympics and try again to like get the gold medal? Like, what is the process for that kid at that time on his road to greatness?
Well, the first thing was, I lost in 1988, but I couldn't go to the Olympics anyway because of Kelsey Banks. But I lost in 88, and I was like, all right, let me wait. I waited to 92. I could jump pro earlier than that, but I waited for the opportunity. I was number one in the U.S. for 4 years, and it didn't happen. I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to do then. Since that didn't happen, I'm going to stop everybody I can, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that title, regardless of who it is. So my mind was always, I'm gonna get the world title and be great. Like it never went off the line. I never thought like, this guy's gonna beat me or that guy's gonna beat me. I just thought that I'm gonna win.
Well, you said, okay, it was 88, and then you were saying you couldn't come back because of what?
I was too young. I was 16, so you had to come back. I came back. I could have came back and fought. Well, I came back and fought to 92 because the Olympics are 92. I could have turned pro earlier.
Right.
If I didn't, meaning that I didn't have to wait till 92. I was able to turn pro, but I was like, well, I'm gonna wait till 92. But then I lost, so I'm like, okay, it's a little minor setback, but like I said, I'm gonna keep trying. I tried not to throw it down.
So you were thinking, okay, let me turn pro and get this goal in the pro game.
I'm gonna get this belt.
Did you feel like there was any unfairness in the Olympic scoring and the way that Olympics awarded gold medals?
I thought that the scoring was different, and I didn't like that they went to the point system. Mm-hmm. And they did that when Roy Jones lost in 88, when he really won, to try to fix it, but it ain't made it worse. And I think it made the professional boxing a little bit worse, because now people are just using the whites of their glove to try to score points instead of knocking the guy out, which that's what everybody wanted. After they reverted back to the 10-9, counting on stuff and took the headgears off, like they were sugar laying on them. Mm-hmm. Now you see fights looking a little bit better now. As far as these youngsters right now, they're trying to knock you out. They're trying to do, trying to get the knockout instead of just scoring points. So the dynamic has changed already.
Did at the time it make you think of changing your style? Like, oh, well, this is how they're scoring boxing. Do I need to fight differently to get a win that way?
No, because I knew, like, professionally, I knew that when you knock the guy out and you go those many rounds, then you win the fight. In regards to the points system or whatever, they can have whatever point system they want. And that's probably why I was like, I'm knocking everybody out, because I don't want to go distance. And I went more rounds. So I went 6 rounds, 8 rounds. So it's longer, and then 4 where it's really quick. I was like, well, if I go 6 rounds, then I will be able to knock them out. If I go 8 rounds, I have more time to break them down and knock them out. 10 rounds, more time.
So that's why you went to 10 rounds so quickly. So
I have more time to get in there, because I know I punch hard and I'm fast anyway, and I can go the rounds. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to be doing that anyway because I want to be a world champion. So I need to get myself there right now and start getting ready for the title.
Turning pro is always a huge decision, no matter what the sport is,
right,
because it's how you start your career, with whom you start your career. Yeah. All these decisions have to be made that can have such grand consequences down the line.
Yeah.
How did you make these decisions? Was it you? Was it you and your dad? Was it your dad? And what were you facing at that time?
It was me and my father. And the thing that was funny is that I remember when Oscar was he was going with Top Rank and all these people. Then I think it was Robert Middleman that was his manager or something like that. And he was telling Bob Arum, like, you need to get this guy, Sugar Shane. Like, he's he's good too. Like you got Oscar also, but a bonus you got icing on the cake would be getting Sugar Shane. And they said, oh no, they just wanted to stick with Oscar and build his career, or whatever. They want to have nobody else. So I then got with this local promoter by the name of Patrick Ortiz, and started doing a career up to a certain point, but then continued no more further. But yeah, I mean, it makes a big decision. I remember fighting a guy that the same guy Oscar fought. He fought for $500,000.
Right.
I fought he knocked him out. I fought this next fight for $5,000. Not the same guy out. 5,000. He got 500. I got 5,000.
Did it?
It pissed me off. Yeah, it pissed me off. Like, what the fuck? Like, he get 5. I get 500,000. I get 5. Same guy.
And so before that happens, Bob Arum and Top Rank have passed on you.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man. I'm like, you know what? That's all right. They gonna see. They gonna see me. You can't get rid of me. You gonna see me. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna continue. I was just stubborn. I'm gonna continue to knock these guys out, knock them out. They're gonna have to come see me. That's why I think I have the mentality to fight everybody. Because oh, Shane, he fought everybody. This mentality is stuck with me because, like, okay, yeah. Oh, you want to fight? Oh, you want to fight? You want to fight? Oh, who won it? And it didn't matter how much money you we give me zero. I just knew money was coming anyway. You give me zero, I'll fight you. Oh, because it was more of my ego and like a thing like, I'm the best. You can't beat me. You think you beat me? Oh, let's go. So I don't know if I had to chip at my shirt like that, but it was maybe it was a chip, but it was like, all right, let's go. You think you win?
A guy who has a big name promoter, global promoter like Bob Arum, a team like Top Rank, guiding his career, picking his opponents, giving him big checks like the $500,000.
Yeah.
And a guy who has a local promoter who doesn't have a gold medal. Regardless of how you grew up, you're still black.
Yeah.
Still 80s, 90s. When you're seeing how your career is progressing and the different kinds of situations you have to be in as opposed to the track you see like an Oscar on and probably some others, how are you dealing with that?
I don't know. I think that when you're thinking about all this stuff that is wrong or bad or whatever that is unfair, and you just keep thinking about that kind of brings you down. You feel like, oh, it's like a downer. So I have to think about the positive things of what I can control, not things I can't control. And then pretty soon it gets better and better and better on things you can control, because those things you can't really control. And later on, if they see like Bob Arum, when I fought Oscar, it's like, oh, well, maybe I should have, got behind this young man. Maybe I should have did that. So, but Bob has always been really good to me too as well. He'll let me find some of the cards at the Olympic Auditorium or, on what is it, Friday Night Fights or whatever it was they was doing. I did a couple here and there, but, I just want to break down the door.
When you're young in those early fights and you got the local promoter, what is it that is going through your mind as you're being successful but not getting the big check? You're being successful but not on the main event of the big show. But you're doing, like you say, same guy, same work, same knockout.
It's a major letdown. Not the fight, because I knocked the guy out or whatever, but it's a letdown that I can't get to the spot that I wanted to get. So I think, and leading on to that with the local promoter, then I had to go with another promoter that had more power with HBO, Showtime. So I went with Cedric Kushner. And that was the time, it was kind of like, I remember getting ready to sign with Cedric, and Cedric was like, listen, I was like, I want to fight for the world title. I want to be the champ. I will be the champ. Basically, I'm telling him, I will be the champ. He's like, okay, well, you can fight my guy, Philip Holiday. I think he was co-promoted with another guy in South Africa. You can fight my guy, but if you don't sign with me, then I won't let you fight my guy. You're not fighting my guy. He came out and told me straight up, if you don't sign with me, then you're not fighting my guy. I was like, well, where's the contract? Because I want the world title. I'm fighting I want the world title, so I'm signing with you. So that was the thing, that that's how I got in. Then once I found HBO, then I actually went to the East Coast and I was like fighting all my fights in the East Coast. That's why all my lightweight fights were in the East Coast, not the West, until I fought Oscar. Yeah.
So what's it like leaving the promoter that took you out of amateurs and worked so hard for you locally, and now you got to leave him if you get
I have to, next level. Yeah. But I mean, he worked so hard, and he's still promoted even today. So he's still. I kind of put him on, if you will, in the local scene. So he's doing his thing, and we had a lot of great time. We did a lot of great fights, stuff like that, and I probably was really easy to promote because it's like, he's like, you gonna fight this guy. It was like today where I need more money, this, that. It was like, which way to fight? All right, I fight him. Okay. Okay, you fight him, boom. I fight him next week. I fight him next month. All right, I fight him. I was fighting all the time. I didn't even care. I even bailed HBO out of some fights. He's like, oh man, this fight fell out. Will you fight? What you call him in next month or whatever? Okay. All right, let's go.
For a young man having to make grown man business decisions, like that's one of those early big ones where you're like, because you're a nice guy, you're a fair guy. I'm sure that promoter thought, maybe this is my ticket to the big time.
He did.
So how do you as a man and a businessman break that news to him? Like how does that moment come about?
Well, basically, we had to let the contract run out because he didn't want to do that. So we had to let the contract. So I think I set for like a year because he didn't want me. And then he actually tried to sue Bob Arum after because he said they had a meeting with Bob Arum, and if I ever fought Oscar, that he was going to get a piece of that. And I think Bob Arum didn't give him the piece when I fought Oscar. But it was just like years after. So it's like, so this is how it went. So Patrick Ortiz was my local promoter. I got with Cedric Kushner, I got with Cedric Kushner, and then he was my promoter for like, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years. Then I fought Oscar like way later, like, what I'm saying? Like he wasn't even a promoter.
Right.
So he tried to sue Bob, and then I had to, stick it for Bob. Like, nah, he was my promoter.
For a guy like Kushner to kind of manipulate you into a contract, to like force you to sign with him to get the deal, is that's gotta leave a little bad taste in your mouth.
I'm like, listen, I want the world title. And then he came to me, then he had that, then he had HBO. The HBO decided actually signed an HBO deal and with Cedric. So both. So it was like Cedric and HBO at the same time. I don't know how they did that. And then I was fighting under Roy Jones all the time too as well. So Roy Jones allowed me to fight because he liked the way I fight. He said, Roy's like, he could always open up for me or whatever. So I was opening up for him too back then a lot.
Did the business of boxing at that time seem unfair to you or leave a bad taste in your mouth?
I mean, the business was unfair. But like I said, it wasn't really, I was just different because it wasn't about the business part of it. It was about me winning, about me being the best, about me being great. I'm literally saying I almost could fight for free. I'll fight these guys for almost free. I didn't care. It's like, okay, we're going to give you, $1.5 million. We're going to get you $2 million. That's good money. I was making 1,000 here, 1,000 there for a long time. 40, 40 for my first lightweight title fight. Like, you can give me $1.5 million, 3, 2, this, whatever million. All right, bet. Boom. Now, $2 million, boom. $3 million, boom. $4 million, boom. Let's go. It wasn't even really about the money, but it was like, okay, I'm gonna fight this guy, I'm gonna win.
Looking back now, knowing the value of money,
but it's different. I think that we made the value of the money go up. Before it was sugar little, they were making that much money, like 100,000, 500,000, whatever. Then we brought it to like the millions, and then now Mayweather and them, they brought it to, the 20 and 30 millions. It's different. It's different millions now.
But when you look back, do you think you would have navigated the business side differently as a younger man?
I think if I would have had the right people around me, let's say like the Al Haymans and the people that know about money, I would probably had more of a different, I would have probably had more money then.
Why didn't you have them people around you?
Because there wasn't that. I think boxing was different. It's more of a business now. So you have more businessmen circling around the boxing. Before, it was kind of like they were just taking the money from the fighters. They was probably getting the money on the back end, and the fighters would tell the fighters, "Oh, you're getting, $60,000, you're getting $100,000." Meanwhile, they took $100,000 on the back end. It was a little different nowadays. Now it's like the fighters are being more businessmen now, and that's why the fights probably are not being made. So, well, you only give me 20%, or you only give me, this, or you're getting this. No, we're not gonna fight. And back then it's like, all right, I'll take 35, you get your ass for 35, or whatever it is. Let's do it.
What's the fight that crosses you over to the big time?
The fight that crosses me over to the big time. The fight that crosses me over to the big time would be the Oscar de La Hoya fight. As far as big, 2000 and the first fight at the Staples Center. The Lakers are getting ready to win the championship the next day. So that I think that fight actually just like puts me into the mainstream. That's when the money really started coming.
Being the kind of fighter that you are, the guy who has fought everybody, right. Did you find there to be a difference between fighters that were like American-born and British-born?
I think so. It was a big difference because, we kind of bordered Mexico. So I think a lot of the Mexicans came over, and then we got a chance to like intermingle with that, and maybe a little bit of Canada, whatever. But so I think that was different because we fought maybe a little different. I think that over here they fight more European or like more the Russian, not more Russian style, but more straight up, and we have more of a angle. Or I wouldn't say sloppy. We'll throw a right hand, but we'll throw overhand rights and do different things. So now I think that was kind of the difference. We're more like free with our punches and like free with our hands being down, not so traditional and standard.
Yes, yeah. We were slick.
Yeah.
We had a little rhythm.
We did a little something different.
And when I was coming up and you were out, in the throes of your career, the thing was Mexican style, right?
Mexican style, yeah.
And so the first big fight of your career, you mentioned Oscar de La Hoya.
Yes.
And so those are two real kind of culture clashes too. Obviously, you're a black guy from Greater Los Angeles,
California. Yeah.
He is of Latin descent from Greater Los, from really East Los Angeles,
East
right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't really coming in with like Mexican style or that like machismo kind of attitude. Even by that time of your career, you had already beaten him in amateurs, right?
Yes, I've been with 12, 13.
And so now you're both pros. He's the golden boy. You're Sugar. Set the stage for me, like before this fight. What's happening in your career and in your life, and what does this fight mean to you, like on the horizon?
Well, this is the fight that meant if I was to beat him, that I was going to be not only like great around my community in California and even New York. I'm worldwide great now. Now it's like because Oscar already solidified himself as being one of the top fighters in the world. I was already world champion, stuff like that, but it's like this was pound for pound, like being the best. And I was like, this is what I've been fighting for my whole life, is to be the best, be pound for pound. So I have to beat him. And especially in LA, we're fighting in our own hometown. It was like the king of LA. Who's gonna be the king of LA right now? Oscar or me. So that's why everybody in LA showed up. and just to see what happens,
Okay, when the fight gets how does this fight get made?
Well, the fight gets made when I'm at lightweight, and I'm like, well, it wasn't really made then, but it was like, let's see if he can actually get up to the weight class and fight. And I think that Wilfredo Rivera, he might have just fought Pernell Whitaker or Fernando Vargas or somebody at 154, and I was coming up from 135 to 47 to fight this guy coming down to 47, and I think people wanted to see how would I fare at welterweight, and he was a perfect guy to test me with because he fought, like I said, he fought Oscar, he fought Pernell Whitaker, he fought Fernando Vargas, so he was well up into the 47-54 ranks already. And I ended up knocking him out in the 10th round, the last round.
Okay, so you really that's the gatekeeper. That's what they call him, right? Like you beat that guy, then you get Oscar. You prove that you can bang at 147, and then they put you in there with the guy.
I think that he was a little bit better than a gatekeeper because if it wasn't an Oscar de La Hoya or let's say Pernell or something like that, or even a Fernando Vargas, he would have probably been world champion. I'm pretty sure he'd have been world champion. But since you had so many Tito Trinidad, so many great fighters in that division,
right?
He was a gatekeeper, but not really a gatekeeper. He was really a tough fighter.
In another era, he would have been champion.
Yeah,
but because there was so much talent, it turned him into a gatekeeper
Pretty
when
much.
he was probably, at this time, would have been maybe championship level.
Yeah.
I get it. So you say, I'm not saying it was an easy fight, but at the time, he was a guy you have to get through to get to the guys that make you a superstar.
To make you a superstar, yeah.
So having, not gotten the gold medal at the Olympics, you that first grab at, your first goal, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is not just the second chance, but the bigger of the two chances.
This is the big gold medal right here.
Right. What's happening in your own head? Are you feeling any doubt and pressure?
I felt no doubt. I was like, you know what? This is what I remember. Kamchatka is the arena is going to make you feel like, are you going to live up to the challenge of all the people like in the arena? And because some people will freeze and see like a lot of different people. And at that time, it was kind of like, it was a star-studded A-class celebrity list around the ring. As I'm walking around, seeing everybody, I'm just picking out like Will over here, and maybe Will and Jada, and then you have just everybody. Right. Jack Nicholson. Just everybody. You just start naming them all, right? That you see on TV. I'm like, wow, I'm waving to everybody, sitting on like. So I knew that it was really big, and I was like, you know what? This is my time to shine. This is my time to be great. This is where you become great right here.
Did you experience like people who were in your corner early in your career that were like supporting you, then be like, man, he ain't not beating Oscar? Like
there was some people. I mean, it's weird. It was so weird because like in East LA, they were like, oh yeah, Shane gonna get him, whatever. And then Pomona, there'd be some people in Pomona saying, oh man, I don't know Oscar gonna get him, because we was in basically the same area. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like undecided, like who they thought. And it wasn't just like Mexicans going for Oscar and blacks go for me. It's like some blacks going, oh no, Oscar gonna get him. Or some Mexicans saying, no, I think Shane, like Pomona or whatever, oh, Shane gonna get him. So it was kind of like, it was very, very even as far as who they thought was gonna win.
And inside the house, your dad's your trainer, but his son is now about to, accomplish his goal or not.
Yeah.
And he has to deal with that on both levels. What was your relationship like in the build up to this fight?
I mean, me and my father he's like my big brother. He was like, we talk about everything. Like, oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do. You can see it in the actual fight when I'm fighting Oscar, my back gets real tight. And if I was like, I was like, probably on my back, it's a little tight. I can't really do it. He's like, listen, you've been waiting for this all your life. You just move around a little bit, let the back, loosen up a little bit, and then we got this is what we came to do. We came to win. So I don't get the back. You got to do something about that. That doesn't mean nothing. We still win this fight. So there was no excuses. I was like, oh, my back is. It wasn't an excuse anyway. My back was tight. And I had to like rest her a little bit for like a couple of rounds. And I think that's why the first 6 were kind of close. Then I just kind of like took off from 6 on to 12. I just beat him.
You like to get knockouts because, like you say, you leave in the judges' hands, anything can happen. And you felt like maybe you got denied some victories in the past. Yeah. So as that fight is getting later on, are you thinking, man, if this guy doesn't go, I might not get this win?
Well, the last round, I hit him. I tried to throw overhand right, and I think I hit him and kind of buckled him a little bit. So I'm like, man, I thought that I beat him. And I was like, you know what, this fight, I should be able to beat it, especially, in the hometown in LA because they know both of us, So I was like, I should win this fight. But then when it says split decision, I'm like, oh man, they're gonna give it to him now. Because champion and Oscar de La Hoya, so I probably don't give it to him. But I knew I won. So yeah, I was a little nervous. When it said split decision that gave him 15-13 or something like that, 50-13 Oscar, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. That's why I have to get a knockout. But he was a great fight though.
Those overhand rights. That was probably the difference in the fight, actually.
Yeah.
When you and Oscar are on this road to this moment, right? Like, again, you're kind of rivals the whole way. He is the golden boy, and you seem to have the hard road.
Yeah.
Is there bad blood there? Is there animosity? Like,
no,
you guys were all good even through the fight.
There was no bad blood even through the fight. And we touched gloves, and we respect each other. We knew, but yeah, no bad blood. I mean, it was just we knew we had a job to do, and may the best man win. And
when your hand got raised in that moment, even if you guys are cool,
that
had to feel like,
oh man,
I told you. Like,
but I told everybody, not him, but just everybody. Like I told you so. Like I know how good I am, how great I am, because they didn't think, oh, this guy come from 135 to 47 to. Beat somebody like Oscar, which was considered pound for pound at one time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's no way. Like, how's he going to do that? And, it kind of like solidified everything. I'm like, man, here we go. I'm about to be great.
Now, you said the star-studded, ringside. It's a huge fight. Staples Center packed out. Yeah. But it's also one of those kind of huge fights where if you're knowledgeable about boxing, you know how close this fight is, like how close in talent these two guys are. It could go either way. But if you just kind of watch big fights, you think Oscar the superstar, oh, this kid, he looks good. He, is going to make it for a good fight, but this is Oscar all day.
Yeah.
When that fight's over, though, like you say, now your name is ringing out around the world. Now people who not paying attention to Shane is like, oh, Shane's the new guy.
Yeah.
How does that change your life?
I mean, it changed it pretty dramatically because, it was a really, really big event. Like I said, around the world, and everybody was like, wow, Sugar Shane. And then the name Sugar Shane. So I'm the next Sugar now. So it's Sugar Robinson, Sugar Lennon, and Sugar Shane, noticeably, on the books and stuff. So, man, it was a great feeling.
The people around you, like, when success happens like that, money, this was like $15 million you make for this fight, right?
No. It's back in the day. Like, if it's today, it would have been $15, $20, $30 million. Back when we fought 2000, I made 4.5. And he made 10.
Well, hold on.
He was the champion. He was the one I'm coming to get.
Is that what you were supposed to make?
No, that's what I made. I made 4.5. He made 10.
Oh, this is reported to be a lot more than that.
No.
Oh, okay. And so once again, this disparity in how much he's getting paid.
He's going to pay more than me.
Literally the same fight, and how much you get paid. Yeah. But still, $4.5 million. This is life-changing money.
Back then you can't complain. I made 4.5 with Fernando Vargas, 4.5 with Mayweather 5, 7 with Pacquiao. So I made my millions. I had some M's in there.
So, coming from Pomona, even a middle-class family ain't making 4.5. Yeah. How does that change the way people are dealing with you? And you're still a very young man. Like, you're still narrowly focused on sports. But now there's a lot of money involved when people come at you. Yeah. There's a lot of different motives involved. So what's that doing to your life?
Well, it changed up a little bit, but I had a really good family where I stayed close with them, and we all shared in the victories, and not all the money, but some of the money. I had houses, different places, got a chance to do the things that I want to do in life. You know what I'm saying? I would say so. Yeah, it changed, but it didn't change so dramatic where it's like, oh my God, I just went crazy, because I knew, like, I actually grew up working. I grew up middle class where I understood money. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like I was just poor and I said, oh man, I'm going to get this, get that. I want this, I want that. I had what I wanted. The only thing that separated me was I wanted to be great. I wanted to be the best. That's why I didn't fight for money. I fought to be the best. That was the difference.
And so with that kind of focus, it's kind of hard to maintain a personal life too. So what's happening with your personal life? Are you married yet?
I didn't get married. I got married after, but I did have like a little personal life here and there, hanging out with different people and had different girls here and there. But it could change up a little bit. Not mine. I was good. Yeah.
But so around Oscar time, you met your wife right after that?
Actually, before that, she actually went to the fight.
Okay.
And then watched it, but she was my girlfriend coming from New York, and just I just was checking it out.
Well, tell me this story. How does this happen? Your future wife is ringside. You don't know that she's your future wife yet, or do you?
No, I don't. I don't. So she comes to the fight, and
how did you guys meet in the first place?
We met in New York. My friend's cousin was friends with another girl, and we kind of met up at this one little it's like a bar area or pool tables, stuff like that. And we was talking, and I thought she was cute and funny and had that New York accent, and we just hit it off and was talking from then on. I would fly back and forth to New York or Jersey, but I got like a little place in Jersey right across. And I'll go and hang out there for a little bit and then go back, so back and forth,
Okay, so you got a little romance coast to coast going.
Coast to coast going. So, I got ready to fight. She flew out. And, she flew out, was checking it all out, and probably, like, kind of amazed at how big the arena was. I don't think she understood, like, at the time, how big of a fighter I was. You can look online and say, oh, the champion, this and that, but not really know about boxing. But then going to the Staples Center, and then everybody's there, and all this, just everything. She's like, wow, this is a big fight.
Right.
Like this is a real deal,
And then you win it.
And then I win it. It's like, whoa, so yeah.
So again, how is that relationship changed by somebody witnessing you in that kind of environment and coming home with a $4.5 million check?
We got a chance to do like a lot of different things. Bought a house. Bought a house close to my parents, like maybe about 5-10 miles up the road, and it was like 12,000 square feet with 2 acres of land, and that's pretty hard in California when you can get a house like that. But in the area, and it was pretty nice size, tennis court, basketball court, pool. Like, it was living the life.
So are you guys like, at that point, looking towards the future? Is this the moment where it's?
Well, I think when we started looking more toward the future is when the babies start coming in. Had a little Najee and then Ty. But all right, well, and we've been together for about maybe a year, 2 years about that time, and I was like, at that time.
So when that first kid comes, how far is it after Oscar?
2001.
So you fought a long time, but probably 2001 maybe is like the prime Sugar Shane Mosley.
Hey, I'm getting to prime, yeah.
Yeah.
2001 and then 2002 and then my little girl's 2003. So it's like bing, bing, bing.
Did it feel fast or did it feel like...
I mean, it was a little fast, but we was in our own spot, our own place, and she was pretty good about me. I just going to camp and doing my thing. I was just... she didn't really go up there. She stayed at the house and did her thing. So it was good. I think, she made it where I was able to like do my stuff. So it's interesting that this is the case for you. You seem like you're having a good time. Everything's kind of going swell. You're winning fights. You got the girl. You got the kid coming. Everybody's happy. Everybody's sharing in the riches. And I don't know if you've watched this recent Oscar de La Hoya documentary, but... A little bit, but... During that time, he was going through it. Like he was saying he was in hell. Like this guy was having the worst time. Whereas everybody would have thought that he should be having, the best time of his life the whole way, the whole ride. Yeah. And you who were coming up hard. Yeah. So it's getting easier.
It's getting easier. I mean, at this time, people are still seeing you as rivals. Obviously, there's a rematch coming. Like all that's happening. Yeah. Right. Are you even aware of what's happening in Oscar's life?
No. At that time, no. I didn't. I wasn't really aware. I was just, just living my life and aware about what was going on with me. I didn't think that it should have been like that with Oscar. I mean, Oscar had a lot of opportunities to make his life better, but I think that because he was involved in himself in the drugs and that type of life. It took a turn that way. I mean, there's only so much you can do if you live in that type of life. They start falling out of the boxing mentality and start falling to whatever mentality he was doing, and those two don't mix. Me, I'm more like the family life too, but boxing's like I still got some more to do. I got more to do. I got more to do. Gotta be the best.
When you're on top, like you were, especially in 2001, are other fighters talking to you about like what this is like, how what it's gonna be like? I mean, there's a very small group of guys who can relate to what you're experiencing in that moment. Is the community of fighters, do they help each other? Did anybody help you or talk you through kind of that moment when it's good to give you the warnings?
I would not really, no. I mean, I kind of had more of my family, like right there, helping me with different things. Like if I needed, if the kids didn't be washed or, or something, I had them found to fall back on because they were really close by. So like I said, I was in Laverne, the promoters right here. They're still promoters today. They were right down the street. So I could just, hey, pop out our sis, I need you to, or whatever. Nephew, whatever. I have the whole family. The family is a family base. Right. So I think that was good with that,
And so at this time, there's no struggles. You're not distracted. There's no...
No. I think that I was doing, pretty good back then. Yeah, everything was great. I had my little babies coming out, and then, I had a nice house, big house, and everybody, was happy.
And so the big fight that everybody wants to see now is the rematch, right?
Yeah. I wanted the rematch because I thought maybe I would get the big purse this time, but that didn't happen. I was going to get the big purse, and he was going to get either the smaller purse, right? Because I'm the champion, but no. They said Oscar, he still got the most, still got the $10 million again because he was a draw, they said. And
now who's promoting you at this point?
It wasn't Cedric. It was now I can't think of his name. Gary Shaw. I think. Gary Shaw, right? Yeah. But so obviously, then Aram's the lead promoter, though he's running the show, right? So at this stage, you've beaten the guy, the pound for pound guy. Yeah. You're Shane Mosley. You've come into your own. You've proven what you said you could do. Yeah. And you're still getting the same check. I think what happened was I lost to Vernon in 2002. welterweight. And I moved to 54 because I actually went to 54 after he lost to me. He went to 54. Lost to Vernon. I went to 54. Then I fought Oscar at 154. So now it's and he had the belt
at 54.
At 54, and I didn't. I was going to take his belt, so I took the WBC, WBA at 54. Like I said, I really wasn't 54. Oscar can do it. I can do it too.
So right. So the Vernon fight in between there. I mean, did you get your just dues, like at least on the payday for that?
I mean, Vernon fight was really that big, maybe $2 million or something. I don't know, 2.5.
So at that point, are you not getting frustrated? Are you feeling like, you're being denied something that came kind of easy to Oscar early on? Like, why isn't Shane Mosley being treated like a superstar?
I did get that feeling like, what's going on? Why? But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, 4.5, 2 million, that's good money, especially back then. That's good money. Mm-hmm. And if I take this challenge, get enough 4.5 with Oscar, take the challenge, I win, then my next fight's going to be more. That's why we didn't fight a third time. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't want to pay me the extra money. I'm like, all right, I did this twice. I fought you twice, and now you want to still keep me under the 10. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's not cool. Like, if we're going to do a third one, this time I get the 10, and you get, 6, 7, I don't care what you get. I get 10. Whatever you get, you get. I get 10. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to do that. So, we didn't fight.
So, what I'm getting at is, why? Like,
I don't understand. I don't know why. I can't even I don't even know why. Like, why wouldn't you do that? But they just didn't want to give me the money, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, looking back on it, is it really just a matter of which promoter you're with? Is there things that you would have done differently that might have put you in a different position in that way? Like, got you a different network deal, got you more money for these fights.
Probably.
Been able to pick your fights better.
I think so. Like, maybe if I was with like an Al Heyman or, Bob Arum or somebody that really went to bat for me financially, then I would have probably made a lot more money. But, that's why I fought everybody. I just fought everybody. I'm like, okay, well, he's big enough. I'm going to fight him. All right, I'll fight him. I fight everybody. Just line them up. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, when I beat all of them, I'm going to get some money. I'm going to get the money anyway. Mm-hmm. So I just fight them. I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to wait him out to 6 million or 7 million or whatever. They said, we'll do 7 or we'll do, let's say 4.5 or 5. And I'm like, okay, well, what about 6? I'm like, well, let's do 5 million. All right, let's go. I wasn't, no, I'm worth 7. I just need 7 or I need 8 or that just was me. I'm like, all right, I'll fight you. I'm gonna beat you 5. Okay, so my next fight, I'm gonna fight this guy. I'm gonna get this in. Well, next time I'm gonna fight this guy. After I beat him, I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna get this.
And so that's why a lot of fighters don't. Your resume is incredible. Like when you say you fought everybody, you really did fight everybody. But other fighters would wait these things out, not do the fight.
Don't do the fight.
And their resumes are not nearly comparable to yours, but they are getting the bigger money because they're
waiting. But it's like this. This is where I thought about it. It's like, okay, so I fight him and get 3 or 4 or 5 million, whatever it is, and then they say, you gotta, you can use this or that. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go ahead and fight him, then beat him and beat the next guy. That's gonna double the fight, whatever. That's 8, 10 million, whatever it is. I'm gonna get that because I've done fought twice. While you waited, I don't know, a year, or whatever. You get stale. You wait a year, you're gonna get the pretty much the same thing anyway. But I'm still fighting.
Right. So, but what it takes some guys to do in one fight, you got to fight 3 times.
2 times. 3 times. And then like Oscar. But I would just want to fight.
Right.
Because I love to fight. I was like, all right, I think that I'm the best, so I want to beat him, and him. And this one, I beat him too. I didn't wait. I just went and did it. Like, okay, well, let's make a deal. Boom, we made the deal. Let's go.
So when people see how much money you amass, they're like, okay, this guy's got plenty of dough, but don't realize how hard you had to work to get amass that kind of money, and how the difference between your contemporaries being able to get that kind of money, maybe fighting lesser fighters and then waiting for one big fight where you're fighting the toughest, the best all the time, keep going. So at some stage, obviously, personal life starts to get rocky.
Yeah.
Right? So when does things stop being so perfect?
Well, I think like in, maybe 2005 or 6. And then it's kind of rocky there. And then we're going through it, me and my ex. And then, 2009 is when I found Margarito. And then that's when, we're legally separated. And then, so it's rocky up in there. Then you start seeing the court stuff of me and everybody. I mean, by the way, it's like, my ex-wife, she did, I guess, a great job of raising my kids because they all, they love her and respect her, and she's very respected. But go ahead.
Do you know, while you're fighting, being focused on your career now, you've been through a lot. You've had a lot of success. You've had a few defeats. Like kind of what life is about. You're a grown man now. You're like doing real things. Are you paying attention to what's happening at home? Is it like?
No, definitely. If you pay attention, it's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of fighting and stuff like that. But at the same time, as a fighter, I was taught to leave. What's outside, leave that outside. When you come to the gym, you come to the ring, then you have the ring problems, whatever you got to do there. So I separated. I was able to separate my outside life from my boxing life, or try to at least.
Does the boxing life start to become an escape from the home life?
I think so. I think I would go to Big Bear and be away from that type of life. When I got ready to fight, I just go to Big Bear and start training and get ready, and then I just escape. My mind escapes what's going on until I finish my fight. Then I come back to the problem, which is probably not the good thing to do, but it's like, all right, now I'm in boxing mode. Now I'm going to do this and just get away from the havoc or whatever that's going on over there. Yeah.
So it seems like your approach is just, I have to fight, I have to win, I got to be in the gym, I got to train, I got to fight, I got to win, I got to train. Yeah. Wow, somebody else takes care of the money, somebody else takes care of the kids in the home, somebody else is doing everything else.
Right.
So when you come back to that, is it difficult to adjust? Like somebody else is in charge of everything.
Sometimes it is. Well, a lot of times it's difficult because you're not really in charge of everything. But you are in charge because you have to make the decisions like, oh no, I want this, I want that. But at the same time, things are being done, and when you get back to it, you can make your adjustments, but it could be different, a lot different,
Yeah. So how are you managing all these people in your life that are running aspects of your life?
It's hard. I mean, you have this one watching that one watching that one. You have the attorney, you have the accountant, and then the wife, then my family was really involved with me, so they'll come and tell me different things, whatever. So it's kind of like you have everybody. This watching. You have people that you can talk to, one watching the other.
Are you able to trust everybody or anybody?
Well, I mean, it's hard to trust everybody, but like I said, if one is saying this and you have the one watch the other and the other and the other, then it's kind of like they are not gonna be on the same side because they're all supposed to be looking out for your best interests.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if it's this one looking out for my best interests, that one, my families are gonna side with this one, and they're not gonna side with this one over here. So it's gonna make sense.
It also sounds like a little bit of chaos too.
It's a little chaos, but at the same time, it's kind of like I know my father's gonna tell me the truth. I know that my sister's gonna tell me the truth. my attorney is supposed to tell me the truth. Yeah. And then you have the accountant that's watching how much money is going out, in and out. You know, so it's a lot of stuff going on, but you have to be able to trust to a certain degree, like all of them, to do the right thing. But you have one looking at the others, make sure they're doing it, make sure everybody's doing the right thing.
So what did that dynamic, that experience teach you?
That, like you said, it could be a whole bunch of chaos. It's like babysitting. It's like managing all the different people around you in your life, managing what they're doing. So you have to be basically the manager and the fighter too as well, like managing yourself. Then you have the manager too as well. You know, somebody, he's managing your career and all that stuff. So who watches him? Probably the attorney.
Right.
What's the attorney and the manager? Who with the money is probably your accountant. You know, so you have everybody, you know, managing everything.
Right, but it's probably the most difficult to have somebody watching.
It's difficult, yeah.
I mean, you're watching your wife. It's your wife. Nobody's going to be able to watch more closely but you, and you're busy making this money and having this career. So how does that separation of trust and happiness, how does this divide happen?
I mean, the divide, it happens when... I guess you could say that when you go out boxing, there's a lot of people, you know, you have girls come up to you, then they get, you know, it's, oh, what's this, what's that? You know, and then maybe you do something, maybe she's doing something. There's a lot of emotional stuff going on. And that's the stuff that I kind of have to, like, shield myself from when I go to Big Bear, when I did go to Big Bear and train, from all that chaos. Because if you have all this chaos, you bring it to the ring, then never been a fight the way you're supposed to fight.
Right.
You know? And maybe that's why I did fight pretty good. Maybe a lot of fighters get taken advantage of or whatever because of this, because they have to. It's hard to fight on the outside and then fight on the inside too. So you have to have people that you can trust and that you love, that love you and that you love as well.
I mean, boxing is a young man's game, and you're still, at this point, relatively young, with 2007, 2000, you know what I mean? But it's getting...
In my 30s.
Right, you're in your 30s, and I was just not the 20s. Yeah. And then, you know, boxing, you can start to see, you know, the kind of end is coming. There's young guys now that are in their early 20s that are going to be harder to beat in a year or two. Yeah. And so your marriage is coming to an end, and you see the amount of money that you've made, but how hard it is and how tough you had to fight to get it. How are you reconciling the idea that someone can take that from you and what it would take for you to get that back if someone were to take it from you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I knew that it was very hard to be able to get that type of money. I think that, you know, like when I fought Pacquiao, I popped my Achilles. I made like 7 for fighting Pacquiao. So I made even more. The most amount I made in a fight was fighting Manny Pacquiao. The fought Floyd for 5. You know, I was pretty much, it was kind of like my career, my body was kind of like coming to a decline. You know, my body wasn't reacting the way it should. So I had to like I said, be injured, going into fights and having to fight because like I'm not gonna get this opportunity again anymore. You know, so I couldn't wait like these fighters waiting and be like, oh yeah, you know, my whatever hurts and I'm gonna postpone it to another date, you know, because there was go to the next fighter.
Right, your back's tightening up. Like, we gotta get this fight.
Okay, well, all right,
right.
Next. You know what I'm saying?
But it's like that moment in the corner where you tell your dad your back's tightened up. He's like, nah.
Not
tonight.
Not tonight. We win this tonight.
Right. But at this stage of your career, you're like, okay, well, these are my last opportunities. And at this time, you also are having a fight outside the ring. You're having a fight with your wife in these courthouses with these lawyers. What's this like?
Oh, man, it's horrible. It's horrible to be able to have to go to the court and talk about this stuff, and then you have kids and stuff like that, so it's kind of hard to like explain everything. But it's all being put out there in the media, where you know your life is pretty much just out there, you know. And that could be, that's really hard. That's really hard. That's really hard, not just for me, probably, for her too as well. She's saying different things that she's not really meaning and, trying to hurt me. And then, I'm trying to like do my fight and we're just going back and forth with different like things that happen. Yeah, it's never a good thing.
And ultimately, what does this cost you?
Lots of money, a couple of million probably to go through all this stuff.
That's probably a couple million, probably just in legal fees.
That's what I'm saying, like a couple million in legal fees. But then you have, the money that she was awarded for. In California, you get half. So it's like $6 million, and a car and all kind of other stuff. Which is, like I said, which is not in the scheme of things. Now looking back, was not really bad because she did look after the kids and make sure the kids were all right. Some people just run off and do whatever they're gonna do, but she actually left for the kids, made sure that they went to school, college, and had cars, so they're doing good. Like I said, they all love their mother. So I mean, I could say that she did a good job with that.
And you talk about like the press, everybody talking about. Well, again, Shane Mosley is fighting everybody. Multi-level world champion, and so it comes out in the press that your wife's taking a ton of money. Like it's a lot of money, and we just got finished talking about how hard it is to put those M's together. Like your biggest payday was $7 million. And you talking about Oscar got 10 the first time he fought. And the second time he fought. Yeah. So just gives you an idea of how you have to fight Pacquiao. You have to fight Margarito. You have to fight, Oscar twice. You gotta fight Mayweather. And
Vargas.
And stacking that kind of money against those kind of fights and taking, even in wins, you still take punishment. No fighter doesn't take punishment. So
every time I had to do the test, I always pee red, which is blood. I always pee blood the first one, and then bright, and then it'll clear up. Every single time. Every professional fight.
Oh, man. And so at this stage, people not only are saying you've lost a lot of money in this divorce, but also, is it time for Shane to retire? Yeah.
He's too old.
How does that feel?
I mean, it's a scary feeling to know that you have to retire. Like, oh man, I have to retire. Like, I have to really give this up. This is what I've been doing all my life. Man, the most scariest feeling in the world. So to actually say that, to actually know and admit to yourself, you know what, I gotta retire now. Yeah, that's your whole life. Just.
Is that a conversation that you're having with yourself alone?
Yeah, pretty much alone. Mm-hmm. That's because. Somebody could tell you, oh, yeah, you need to retire because, you look this way or that way. But until you understand, until you digest that, like, I can still fight. I can still do that. And even now, I still believe I can still get in there and fight right now. But I know that I'm not 100%. I know that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I know that I can get hurt and be like a lot of other fighters, older fighters that are, maybe in wheelchairs or something. Because they can't, feed themselves. I don't want to be that. So I gotta, see where I can't do it no more. I gotta retire.
Looking at retirement as a possibility and then having lost so much of the money you accumulated during the years that you fought, like really from 7 years old, you know what I mean? Yeah. You got to look at everything it took to get that money from the first day. Yeah. Are you thinking, I gotta retire, but then I also gotta fight? Like, I can't just end up with this.
Yeah. Well, then I think the thing is being content with life and being happy, thinking that you need to have this amount of money or that amount of money. I mean, when people understand that, money really doesn't make you happy, it really brings more drama, more problems to you. Really, the more money you have, like I said, more money, more problems. And that's really the truth. That's the truth, because you have to really, like you said, it's chaos. You have to watch all these different things. You have to watch this person, that person, to make sure they're not taking stuff. But if you don't have all of that, then, I mean, you still should watch, your stuff, but it's not like on that level where they're like, that's just trying to get you for real, you know.
Mm-hmm. Are you happy at this moment? Like, not now. I'm saying then.
Yeah. Oh, it's about
like, when it comes, yeah.
At 2009 and like 10, I was kind of. It wasn't that I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't like happy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm still trying to find something, and I know that boxing is. You know, I'm like, well, maybe I can go into this. Maybe I can go into, like, you know, they have rapping or doing something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can go into something else. But it's like I go into different things like it's nothing like boxing to me. I love boxing. I can try to go away from go to a different route, do this, that, whatever. Nah, it just doesn't feel the same. Even, I'm not saying me being in the ring, boxing, just being around the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I can be helping somebody to become better, a trainer or this, just commentate, whatever. Just being around the sport, seeing it's like I did this all my life. That's what I want to do. You know.
How do you find your way to happiness from that moment where you're searching for something? I mean, after having done so much, now you need something. Yeah. How do you find it?
Like I said, just at the boxing, I feel. For me, people can find it in different things, you know. I think that doing what you love to do is the best way to find the happiness. And, you know, any hobby it is, whatever you love to do, just do it. But my hobby or my life was always boxing, so it's like I wanna do this. I wanna go into. I don't care what it is. If I have to get behind a fighter, a young fighter, whatever, and that's what a lot of trainers or fathers, or whatever, they live their life through, you know, a fighter, a person, or whatever. Right, I'm all with that because I love boxing.
At some point, did you mentioned that, like, you know, obviously you and your dad had this relationship, and at some point he had to separate from a career,
and he actually did, and he's still training fighters today. We was training fighters together. Like he's 78 years old, still doing what he loves to do, and he's, you know, more vibrant than a lot of people. Like he can get up and he doesn't club. I'm saying he'd be on dance floor and just be like, outdo me. You know, he can. Yeah, he's amazing right now. He's 78 years old, do whatever he want to do.
How did you know when it was time for you to go your own way with your career as long as your dad had been in your corner?
Well, it didn't seem like my father had to be in my corner, but he was always there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So he had to be in my boxing corner, but he was in my corner. Even when he wasn't in my corner, he was still there. He was always there, always around. Kind of like me and my son, you know, I'm in his corner, I'm right there, but I'm not necessarily in his corner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so when you had to find something outside the ring, who's in your corner? Because you're not happy, you're not satisfied, you can't go back in time. Like boxing is done. So who's helping you in that time find happiness again?
Well, I would have to say the person that's around me the most. You know, then we can find happiness in each other. Mm-hmm. And because, you know, it's not just a one-way street. I guess if you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, your children, your kids, I mean, family, kids, you know, people that you're around.
And so you just celebrated 52 years on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Since the boxing career and the ring ended, what's that journey been like into, you know, becoming a senior man, you know, getting half a century on the cards?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, kind of funny because, you know, like I said, I would go to my son's house in Vegas and hang out with him and my grandkids there. It was like, oh, I'm a grandpa, and then I watch him, and he's, you know, he's such a great father, and he has a, you know, a beautiful wife, a terrific wife, and I just like, wow, you know, he's living his life, you know, and it makes me feel good. And then I'm training my little grandson, you know, Zayden, and he's doing his thing. It's like he's really good and he wants to box and he wants to take the career just like, like me, his father, and now it's him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great feeling.
Do you have a hard time letting go?
You know what? I don't think that I'll ever really let go of boxing. I think boxing is always going to be in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be me getting in the ring and fighting or doing that. It just be me, being involved with the sport and helping out younger fighters, champions, whoever, to become better, mentally, physically, whatever. Like knowing the skills, knowing the different turns and stuff that I've done, as far as the bobbing and weaving, touchings, everything, because I know it all, and I am more than happy to give all this knowledge that I have to whoever would love to receive it.
When you look back on what you have done and experienced in boxing, what do you think is your proudest achievement or moment that was like the defining moment for Shane?
As far as the boxing is concerned, the first fight with Oscar was the biggest achievement, not just because of who was it, but just everything that came around with this. Like it really showed the total package of boxing, and at the highest point, and being on the center stage, and we really, both of us, gave everything and put everything out there, to show what we were both about,
And as a man, what's the greatest lesson that this life that you've lived has taught you?
The greatest lesson. Oh boy. Well, with boxing, I would say that knowing your boundaries, knowing when to say yes and knowing when to say no. Know when to say yes, know when to say no, and I would say that, because sometimes you could do certain things and it's good, but sometimes you probably shouldn't. Yeah.
You spent the first half a century fighting with your fists in the ring, doing this thing, and now looking at the second half of this century. What's the fight for you? What is it that gets your ambers burning bright, that gets that fire stoked in your belly?
Really what gets me stoked out is seeing my son fight and wanting to make sure that he accomplishes all the things that he wants to accomplish in his career, his life, all that. And just being the father that's watching him be the best he can be.
That is the tradition that you're passing down through generations. Your father was there for you. You're there for your son. His son now, he will be there for him because he has these generational examples. And then guys like me who are not in the family, but I feel like I grew up watching you become a man, become a champion, become a legend, become a Hall of Famer. And you've always had this great example to set. And so that is like kids that you've raised outside the family structure that, look up to you and hope to follow your footsteps, be they in the ring or outside the ring. You've made an incredible impact on the sport, upon me personally. So it's always an honor and pleasure to talk to you and wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
And many, many more decades of championship level happiness, success, achievement, and always at heart a fighter.
Yes.
Radio Rahim with Sugar Shane Mosley.